So today we're going to be making bags, which are fun. I'm going to make a little decoration on a bag, a little heart. It'll be cute, and it's a little bit harder than the dragonfly, but it's really good. It's like, it works well, and I've used them in cosplays, and I've used them in all kinds of things. They carry things. You can maybe hear I got some stuff in here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is sewing on the heart. I have here a little purple felt heart that I've cut out, and I've placed about where I think the middle of the bag is going to be. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect, but you know, you want to try. I'm using a red thread because I think I like the contrast between the purple and the blue and the red. And I'm just going to sew it on here. Now, I'm not going to worry so much about the edges, but that's okay because it's going to turn out looking fine. This is a single sheet of felt, which was bought, you can buy them for about $1 a piece at fabric stores. Just little sheets of felt which you can cut into different shapes and things. And you need to be careful because I am not being very careful. I could be poking myself. I am not. Thankfully. I also forgot to fill up my teacup, so I'll do that after I got this heart stitched on. And I know it looks kind of really open so far, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to sew on all the spots I'm not sewing right now to make it so that it's all the way sewed on. And you just go around. It's a pretty slow and tedious process. It's a lot of sewing, obviously. That's what you kind of get when you do a lot of fabric projects. It's just a lot of sewing. I know they have no-sew fabrics, but I don't use those because I'm not sure how they work. They seem a little odd to me. The idea that you can use a fabric and not sew. I know there's some people that like use glue, like hot glue guns and stuff, but that seems really it seems really temporary to me. I like for things that I make to be a little more stable than that, and hot glue seems like something like you could just tear it apart. I guess you can tear thread apart too, but like it just seems more appropriate to use thread when you're making something with fabric. I know I've caught in a hold of that bag. It's okay. I got it. You want to try not to pull too tightly because you'll mess up the dimensions of your fabric if you pull too tightly, because you just want this to be attached. You don't want it to be causing a lot of stress on your fabric. And even if it looks a little odd, like if my edges aren't perfect or if it starts to fray a little bit, I think that's also okay because it's a handmade gift, and handmade gifts aren't supposed to be perfect. They're supposed to be heartfelt and special, which is always what kids say when they hand in that homemade card, right? It's special. So, yeah, I'm probably going to edit a bit of this out just because it'll be really boring if all I do is show you me sewing around things a lot. I'm going to use a sewing machine for the edges because that works a lot faster and makes it a lot easier to do this. I cannot use my sewing machine to stitch on things though. It's not a fancy sewing machine. It's my mom's actually. She had for a really, really long time. It's getting kind of old. And now I use it a lot because that's what we have. And now you see I'm getting right back to where we started. I'm just going to go around one more time, essentially making it so that this is a solid red heart all the way around this purple heart. If you're really fancy and you know what to do, you can also put a lining in these bags. I've done that on a couple. I tend not to though, because typically they don't need them. But if I'm cross-stitching a pattern on it, or if I'm just wanting to make it look better, I'll put a lining in it. Otherwise, these things tend not to get too bothersome. Without it. That was a really long pause. I don't know why I waited that long for that pause, except for maybe that I was too busy focusing on this little heart. Okay, so now you can see got the red sewn all the way around it. So we're going to go to the other side. And the way I like to tie these off is I go to the last thread, just pick it up a tiny bit. You just want to get the thread. You pick it up and you go under, you find the loop, you go through the loop. And you just do that a couple times and that'll tie it off nicely without having a ton of extra thread about. And you can do this as many times as you want to make it sturdy. I'm going to probably do 2 more just because I really want to keep this on. And it won't hurt the thread to do this. You're just making it nice and sturdy. That's a nice knot. It's going to hold. It's going to keep that little piece of fabric on. And then you just cut it right near there. And you can see that very little extra thread hanging off. This one was my before one, the one that I had to tie, so I can cut that off. And now we have very little on the inside that can catch on things, and that's going to help us. So the next thing I'm going to do is what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fold the top down, and I'm going to sew this together. But before that, I need thread. Okay. Need rope. This is going to be the rope that is going to be the drawstring. So I want to make sure it's going to be quite a bit longer than the bag is, because that's going to make sure that I can tie it at the end. So I'm going to sew this bag with the thread inside of it, and then you'll see it once I have that done. Okay, so I messed up a little bit. I forgot to position the thread so that the red side was going to be showing. So instead we have the under thread, which is gray, which will be fine. But see, now the way I sewed it, I now have my string already inside, so I don't have to worry about looping it in, which makes it a lot easier. So we're actually going to fold this inside out, and then I'm going to go back to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew along these 2 edges. That will finish my bag, and then I can tie these together, and I will show you that when that is ready. Okay, so I messed up a little bit on the bottom here. I was trying to double stitch it and it went off track, so I just went over it again. But that's okay. It's all going to be working out in the end, and we're almost done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just flip it outside so that now the heart is back. We can see it, and we have what's basically our bag. We're just going to take these ends, and we're going to loop, and we're going to tie them to a nice little knot. And then we're going to take the ends again and tie them one more time to make sure it's nice and strong. And now we have a bag that cinches up and has a little heart on it, which you can put little toys in, you can fill it with candy, you could just give them this. Maybe they have a reason for needing a bag. Either way, it's cute. It works for carrying change, makeup supplies, sewing supplies, beads, anything you want. This one is probably big enough you could carry like maybe a Game Boy in it, which would be cool, like little games and stuff, pocket puzzles and all those things. Make it like a little carrying tote for travel. And that's how you make a bag. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you try these and let me know how they went over for you. Bye.